Alrighty then, so once again, this recipe comes to us from Tess. Now, I don't know where she got this recipe from, but that's a good amount of German influence. To me, it seems like it. All that does is hone the knife, it doesn't actually sharpen it. And it's basically just potatoes, chicken, and bacon. She might sue me for stealing all her recipes, but I'm her favorite son, so hopefully she doesn't mind too much. Now this recipe, I know that she's been making it for as long as I can remember. And it's a very simple dish that was actually one of my favorites when I was a kid. And it's just potatoes, some bacon, and some chicken. Now, I've since made my own version of this recipe. We're gonna culinary school it up. We're gonna Wolfgang Puck catering it up, so to speak. So first, I'm cutting the potatoes. Now, this recipe, if you look at the ebook, which is free and it's in the description, it's gonna serve 8. Now, I'm just one man. I'm a big dude, but I am just one man. So I scaled it down for me. But if you look at the recipe, it's 8. All we're gonna need is 1 onion. Now here's a list of all the ingredients you will need for this recipe. Got the onions, and just French the onions, or you can cut them into slices. Doesn't really matter. Well, prepping this garlic. Just gonna finely chop it. Yes, I'm using a plastic cutting board, but this is for me. I'm near jet fuel a lot, so microplastics, it's not really that big deal to me. All right. Now, if I was cooking for somebody else, I would use the wooden cutting board. All right, so let's go down the list of all the ingredients. We got your potatoes, we got your bacon, got some onion, and we got some garlic, heavy cream, some Dijon mustard or imitation, because unless it's from actually Dijon, it's not considered Dijon. Gonna use some rosemary. Gonna leave the sprigs whole. Tiny little bit of parsley, some red wine. I actually had a nicer Pinot Grigio, but I accidentally took that to a friend's house instead of this one. But any white wine will do. This is just the most expensive one. My thing is, don't ever cook with wine that you're not willing to drink. And yeah, I'll drink it. And last, but certainly not least, some chicken thighs. And specifically, we're gonna use chicken thighs for these. You can get the chicken thighs without the bone, with bone, skin on, skin off, it doesn't matter, but chicken thighs. Now this one has a little bit of a marinade on it, and that's only because I had some left over. But all you can do is put salt and pepper if you want. Now this is all the ingredients we're gonna use for this. It's not too many ingredients. If you wanted to take some out, it's perfectly fine. I would say the thing that you could probably take out is the parsley and the garlic. These are all the ingredients you will need for this. And of course, salt and pepper. All right, so now let's start to fry up the potatoes. All right, so be very, very careful, don't splash. And we're just gonna slightly brown them. That's all we're gonna do. It's gonna be perfect. You can peel the potatoes if you want, but that is honestly a waste of time. So the big thing with this recipe, as you're gonna see, it's not that complicated, but it is a process, because in this pot, we're gonna be cooking off every single element, and then eventually it's all gonna come together. But this is a 1-pot dish. Now, as you can see, the potatoes are getting a little bit brown. Now, you can flip them all over and brown them on all sides, but it's really not necessary. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna take them out, because they are done. Now, they're probably not cooked all the way through, and that is perfectly fine, because they are gonna cook some more later on. Now, the difference between mine and my mother's at this point is that she would just throw them in. She wouldn't really saute them. So they would be a little bit more on the boiled side, which is perfectly fine and tasty. So as you can see, this bowl, we're just literally gonna put every single element of this after it's done cooking. So now we're gonna cook the onion. We're gonna put the onion in first, and then later on the garlic. Try not to burn it. Now, if you noticed in the beginning, we put a pretty good amount of oil, but we're probably gonna cook a lot of it out. I think at this point we can add the garlic, and it might have a little bit of parsley in it. No harm, no foul. Now the onions are slightly translucent, and that should be good enough. The garlic did render down a little bit, or did cook off a little bit. Let the pan get back to a little bit of heat, and then just rough chop bacon. That's all that is. And for my mother's recipe, this was also, she would chop it and cook it for a little bit, but she wouldn't get it crispy. We're gonna get it crispy. I'm gonna render as much of this bacon out as possible. And the reason we want to cook as much bacon as we can, or as much fat out of this as we can, is because we're gonna use that to cook the chicken. All right, so let's take this out. Now, there's a pretty good amount of oil in here, so I'm not gonna add any more. All right, and before this gets too smoky, and goes in the chicken. And all I've really done is trim down some of the skin. And like I said, the only reason I put this marinade on here is because I had it. Skin side down. Again, thighs work just fine. Chicken breast, I would say not so much, only because we're gonna cook this for a little bit. And it'll tend to get dry. Now all we're gonna do is brown the chicken. Look at that, beautiful. Now this chicken's not gonna cook all the way through with this process, obviously, but we are gonna cook it a little bit longer when we put everything back together. Beautiful. All right, so now the chicken is nice and seared. We're gonna take it off. Obviously, it's not cooked all the way through. Not gonna worry about that right now. So what we're gonna do now with this is we're gonna take some of this fat out. Now, as you can see, we still have a pretty good amount. Now what we're gonna do is add some flour. We're gonna make a little bit of a roux. Don't burn it. Now, quickly before it starts to burn, add some stock. Whisk that. Then we're gonna add to this the wine. Yes. All right, make sure you cook out all the clumps. You don't want any clumps in here. At this point, you could probably switch to a spoon, probably. Tongs probably don't work the best for that. Now, in my mom's recipe, there was no stock, no white wine. And if when you use the white wine, you're going to want to use a white wine that is dry, which that Pinot Gris was a little dry. So now we're going to add a whole sprig of thyme. No, that is rosemary. We're going to add the rosemary, some Dijon. And the reason you want to turn it down is because you don't want the Dijon to break. All right, so once we got that, if it's a little too dry, you can add some more stock. If you don't have stock, you can add water, chicken bouillon. Now, what we're gonna do, gonna add the kids back into the pool. Chicken. Everybody goes in. Everybody in the pool. So bring this up to a simmer. All right, so see, now it's at a simmer. You want to turn down the heat a little bit so that the mustard doesn't separate or break. Now we're going to cover it and let it cook for about 20 to 30 minutes over low medium heat. If only y'all could smell this. Ooh, so good, it falls up my glasses. Now this has been cooking for about 30 minutes. And so the last thing you want to do, you're going to skip this if you really wanted to. And the reason we're adding it late again is because you don't want it to break. So turn down the heat even more. And we're going to add some cream. And again, this is my version of this. Take out the stem of the rosemary. Its purpose has been fulfilled. Now stir it a little bit. You see how the sauce thickened nice. Now at this point, if you wanted to, you could taste it, adjust for salt and pepper. And to finish it off, just put a little bit of parsley all around it. Et voila. Now if you want to make it a little bit thicker, you could cook this down a little bit more, but over very, very low heat. Which I think I'm gonna do, but maybe only for like 4 minutes, 4 or 5 minutes, not too long. How are we looking? Good looking. All right, now this is done, so let's serve it. So while you guys like, comment, sub, and follow, I'm gonna go ahead and eat this. Thank you guys so much. Follow for more recipes. It's like my childhood elevated. Shout out to Tess again. This might as well be her cooking channel.